Thanks for tuning in. Another episode of Elk Talk, and we're down to the last of the states that we're going to discuss as far as drawing opportunities and how you get tags. And the last state left on the map is Idaho. And the reason it's the last state on the map is it's the last of the states as far as chronological order of deadlines. The deadline in Idaho is usually June 1st to June 5th. So you've pretty much found out your results from most of the other states by the time the Idaho deadline comes along. So if you haven't drawn a tag in one of those states, Idaho is a place you want to start looking. Here's how the Idaho system works. As a non-resident, we need to understand that when the controlled hunt drawing is what they call it, most other states call it limited entry, but they call it controlled hunts. We are capped at no more than 10% of the tags. Doesn't mean we're going to get 10%, but we're capped at up to 10%. So the very first thing that you have to do is you have to buy an Idaho non-resident hunting license, which this year is $155. That's a pretty big chunk of money to have a non-refundable license just to apply. If it fits your budget, hey, it's probably worth it. And then you buy that license, and I think it's $5 or $10 to apply is your application fee to apply for one of the controlled elk hunts. If you draw one of these controlled hunts, you will have invested your $155 license fee, your application fee of $5 or $10, I can't remember what it is, and you're going to pay $417 for the elk tag itself. So that's how the limited entry system works. The beauty of Idaho is there's no point system. So for those of you who are just getting into this game, you're not way behind the curve like you might be in Arizona or Nevada or Utah or Wyoming, wherever. You, as a new applicant, if this is your first year, have the same odds that I do. I've been applying in Idaho since 1998, so 18 years. We're on the same footing. You might draw, I might not. And that's just how Idaho does it. If you are one of the lucky people who draw in the limited entry draw, you have until early August, I think it's August 1st, to actually buy your tag. If you don't buy your tag by then, it goes into what's called the second draw. So there is a small window of draws, or of tags in a draw called the second draw that happens in early August. It's for those people who drew a controlled permit, didn't buy it in time, and it gets thrown into the second draw to make sure all those tags end up being used by somebody. Here's a quirk to Idaho that's different than all the other states. And it's what gives you better draw odds than maybe you'd find in one of the surrounding states. In Idaho, you have to decide if you want to apply for moose or goat or sheep or the other three of elk, deer, and antelope. So if you apply for moose, you can't apply for anything else. If you apply for sheep, you can't apply for anything else. If you apply for mountain goat, you can't apply for anything else. If you decide you want to not apply for any of those, the moose, goat, or sheep species, you can apply for all three of elk, deer, and antelope. So because of that, the elk, deer, and antelope odds in Idaho are better than they are in a lot of other states. Because a lot of other states, people say, well, if I'm going to pay $155 for a license, I want to apply for everything. Idaho doesn't let you do that. You have to make your decision up front. Am I doing moose? Am I doing goat? Or am I doing sheep? Or am I doing the elk, deer, antelope option? And one of the beautiful parts about Idaho is they have a lot of general tags that we as non-residents can just go onto their website and buy the tag. It's that simple. And you have to select kind of, all right, I want this zone or that zone. There's some zones that are in higher demand because the elk are doing better. And then there's some zones that aren't doing as well, so the number of tags available is less. So if you don't have a limited entry tag somewhere else and you want to go elk hunting this year, Idaho is your ticket. And you can go, you can decide if you want to go archery, you can decide if you want to go muzzleloader, you can decide if you want to go rifle. It's that good. Some great bulls in Idaho killed every year. like every other state. You know, the meaner the country, the bigger the bulls usually, and Idaho has some of the meanest country in all of the lower 48. If you're willing to go back into those places, you're going to find an age class of bulls that is very good. If you're looking for where are the areas that have the best quality of elk, you can go to the Go Hunt Insider and do a search, and their information is very, very detailed by unit. It'll tell you how much public land is there. It'll tell you everything you want to know about that unit. And if you sign up for the Insider, use the promo code ELK TALK. And if you do, you're going to get a Gerber Vital knife. The Vital is the scalpel blade knife that we use just for signing up. It's got everything that I need for Idaho. It gives me an overview of the state. It gives me an overview by species, in this case elk. And then it'll give me extreme detail of every unit, right down to where you can camp, I mean, where you can get gas, all kinds of stuff. So very helpful to have that service available to you. One of the beauties of Idaho is there's a lot of tags if you don't draw a controlled hunt, but they're controlled hunts. There's no point system. Very simple. Throw your name in the hat, and if you're one of the lucky ones, get assigned a low random number, you're going hunting. It's that simple.